next up, we will be having a quick look at UX research and design. We're kind of skipping on to UX purely because Kali, our speaker, is from the other side of the world. She's from India, so we don't want to keep her up too late tonight. That's one of the another beauty of our STEM-away projects is the global reach of it. And I've made friends from across the globe, and I've collaborated with people who I hope to keep and maintain networks with. So if you do apply to STEM-away as a high school student, you'll most likely be the youngest, if not one of the youngest in your team. However, don't let this dissuade you. I was the youngest in my group and I became a UX lead. So I led a team of 10 participants in the UX project. In fact, you're actually networking with the perfect age group if you think about it, because when all of your teammates are in the workforce, you'll be just graduating and sure they'll all get you jobs in their companies. So for UX, the fundamental of UX is design thinking, which was developed at the Stanford School. The design thinking process begins with empathize. So you learn about your audience. Who are you putting your product out to? So in the context of our STEM-away internship, STEM-away was our product, and we sought to improve the website in a variety of ways. So our audience was actually ourselves. We are our own stakeholders, which is a very interesting aspect of our project, because we could look inwards as well as outwards to solve our problem. Then you define your problem. What are you going to fix? Then you ideate. How are you going to fix it? Then you prototype. This is our solution. And then you test it and you iterate, and you might have to go back to prototype if it doesn't succeed. And then at the very end, you'll have your high-fidelity prototype ready to pitch to your stakeholders. So Kali is going to speak about the first 3 stages: empathize, define, and ideate. Her team worked on the one-click resume. The basis behind this is that students and junior professionals struggle to display their working experiences in a meaningful way to recruiters. So as well as internships, STEM-away offers an online live portfolio of student work that can showcase the students' engagement with the program and with programs outside of STEM-away. So without further ado, I'll hand you over to Kali Surana.
Hi. Okay, so to begin with, we start with the stakeholder map. Before starting to think more deeply about the one-click resume, we learn more about the stakeholders of STEM-away. It is important to understand our target population. Thus, we divided all stakeholders into 3 main categories. The people who are directly associated with the advancement of the platform, then those who come to STEM-away to learn and gain experience, and lastly, those who communicate the students' interest to the core investors of the platform. Then comes the empathy maps. Empathy maps helps in understanding how potential users will navigate the one-click resume, and also the overall impression of the feature in the STEM-away platform. We as a team drew upon our own experiences with resume and asked questions like, how are users think and feel about the one-click resume or the STEM-away platform? What do they hear? What do they see? What do they say and do? What are the users' pains and gains? This was a very helpful process as it helped us in brainstorming questions to ask in our interviews. Then comes the user research. First, we need to be aware of the type of people we're going to interview, and that's why we chose these 3 target populations as taken from the stakeholder map. They were mental aids, STEM-away users, and non-STEM-away users. We conducted a total of 9 interviews with the interviews from these target population. It allows us to learn more about resume building experiences from different people. Then for the interviews, we asked 2 types of questions. The first part contained questions to collect user insights, about like the experiences with resume maintenance to resume building. The second part focused on the testing of the current prototype of one-click resume to understand the pain points of the current product. It is, and if users could understand the organization of information on the sample one-click resume. After collecting the user insights from the interviews, we organize them into an affinity map to categorize these insights from the interviews. It helped in organization and understanding of the user pain points. Some of the pain points were not understanding the validation system or the tagging system. Many also had a hard time differentiating between the technical and the soft skills, in addition to subcategorizing them as areas and skills. So from the different categories on our affinity map and the group of users we interviewed, we determined some key areas of focus we wanted to address in our prototypes. We formed these into how might we statements. So some of these how might we statements were help users understand each session and how to fill them in, reduce anxiety surrounding resume building. So we made it a priority to answer these questions with our solutions, as these were the most common problems we saw during our usability testing sessions and interviews. So after doing a lot of brainstorming, sketching, and low-fidelity prototype, we came up with a high-fidelity prototype. One of our goals was to reduce the anxiety around resume building and also the pressure on students to have their resume in public view. Thus, we created the privacy feature. On the left-hand side is the outside view of the private mode, and on the right-hand side is the outside view of the private mode. It has a drop-down menu in which users will be able to choose who they want their resume to be accessible to. Over here, on the left-hand side is the information architecture of the resume for those editing their resumes. Changes were made to emphasize the hierarchy of information. And on the right-hand side is the view of the pre-populated drop-down menu, which provides different options for what belongs in the area. And then based on that, what users choose as the skills options would be updated. There's a little icon on the top right corner, directs users to additional help if they need it. So this will lead to a pop-up like this. This is how the help page looks like. We created help pages to clarify features, plus categories to aid users as they use the product. These help pages would be accessible through the question mark icon, which you could see on the previous page, which will be available for all categories at the bottom of the page. So what have I learned? In around the span of 5 weeks, I've learned so many things. I learned how to use Figma from scratch with the help of my mentors and teammates, then Miraboard for making affinity maps. And not only that, I've gained so many skills. I've gained skills like teamwork, organization, collaboration, communication, presentation. All of these skills are super important in any team project. So yeah, I've learned a lot of meaningful things through my UX internship at STEM Away with the help of my mentors and team members. It was a great learning experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Kali. So now if anyone has any questions for Kali, we're going to pause our presentation just to take questions. So, Kali, how much background knowledge did you have about UX before starting your internship?
So I did have a little background information. I knew a lot about like design thinking through my design classes, but to be honest, in UX, as a UX like experience, like I didn't have any knowledge about like all the personas, the stakeholder maps and all of that. But like my mentors and my teammates were very helpful. They were the ones who had a little bit more knowledge than me, and they were always there to guide me.
Thank you. Just a reminder to the audience that if you have any questions throughout this session, you can click the Q&A button in the bottom of the screen and type in your question. We have one more question for you, Kali. Where will you carry over this experience? Have you any plans to maybe use this in college or use this in future projects?
Yeah, I would love to extend my knowledge and maybe even think about doing a career in US experience, because doing the internship and learning more about it has really like opened my eye, and I really want to learn more about this career, maybe just do this in my career in future. Like, yeah,
Thank you very much, Kali.
thank you.